a grisly killing, a guilty verdict, and 2 years probation for the killer, all because of cannabis-induced psychosis, a real diagnosis confirmed by experts on both sides of this case. In May of 2018, Bryn Spejcher took a hit off her friend's bong before stabbing him 108 times, and then stabbing her dog, and eventually stabbing herself. The potency of the weed and the manner it was consumed, especially for someone who was not an experienced pot smoker, experts say, triggered the psychosis that led Bryn to have visions and to hear voices. Visions that she was dead with paramedics, family standing over her, and voices that told her the only way to bring herself to life was to kill Chad O'Melia and then stab herself. Bryn says she never knew what she was doing. When cops arrived in the early morning, it took 4 shocks from a taser, 9 baton blows, breaking her arm to wrestle that knife out of Bryn's hand. All of it caught on body cam. Prosecutors dropped the original charge from murder to involuntary manslaughter, a crime that's punishable by 4 years in prison under California law. Now, just for context, you guys, you can get more time than that for identity theft. So just imagine the shock in the courtroom when she wasn't even given any prison time at all. What a stellar result. What great lawyers, of course, they're my friends. Bryn received 2 years probation and 100 hours of community service. Chad O'Melia's father has appeared on this show several times to express his feelings. Often, of course, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration throughout that trial. But tonight, Bryn Spejcher joins live, along with her attorneys and my esteemed colleagues from Los Angeles, Bob Schwartz and Michael Goldstein. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Bryn, thank you for being here. I know this is very difficult for you each and every time you have to talk about this. I want to start with you first. When did you realize how bad the consequences of this psychosis were? In other words, you had killed your friend. When did you realize that?
Before I answer that question, I just want to make a statement.
Sure.
That every day I do think about Chad and his family and his friends, and I am so sorry for their unthinkable loss and the immense pain they will endure forever. I didn't find out that he passed until days later when I woke up from the hospital. And when I did wake up from the hospital, that's when I knew that there was something bad happened, but I wasn't given answers right away. And I was very scared, confused, and shocked, and I didn't know what was going on. And throughout the days in the hospital, I was starting to figure out more and more what was happening, and later found out about Chad.
I mean, I can't even begin to fathom the trauma around all of this, the trauma that you're living with that, frankly, I don't think will ever really fully go away. And I think it's none of us can really fathom this. So, you know, are you in therapy? Is there I mean, there's got to be PTSD associated with this. How are you coping? What are you doing?
I immediately started seeing a therapist in California within 6 months of the incident. It took a while to find the right one, but she specialized in PTSD, and I saw her for years. And then when I went to Illinois, I saw another therapist. So I was seeing 2 therapists over the years. And then with the immense support from my family and friends and having the right resources, and my faith in God helped me get through this horrible, horrible thing that has happened for both families.
And so you have a support system in place that you can basically rely on. As you know, I know I've never experienced anything, of course, like this, but I've had PTSD from certain events in my life, and you never know when it creeps up on you, you know. And I'm glad to hear that you have the support system that you can rely on as you need it. Now, I understand you're working with an organization called Every Brain Matters. Can you tell our viewers what that is and what you're doing with that organization?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit organization that is working to fulfill my court-ordered public education hours. And they are educating the public about cannabis-induced psychosis and the potential harms from it, including that it could lead to violence. And so that's how I'll be getting my community service hours with them.
And, you know, if you could say something to Chad right now, I know you addressed the family. If you could talk to Chad and say something to him, what would you say to him?
I am so sorry that he had to go through that. 'Cause there's no way I would have ever hurt him. And I'm just so sorry that he went through that pain.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Bob, let me go to you. You know, the law gives us a drop-down menu when it comes to homicides, right? And Bryn was initially charged with murder. Murder? Please make it make sense. I don't understand. And then eventually this became manslaughter. Tell us what happened and how, you know, did body cam have anything to do with this? How did this come about?
The body cam, you're talking about the video from the body cam of the deputies that arrived on the scene. That had a lot to do with it, but it wasn't the only thing. Well, first of all, this was a murder case for several years. And what changed is that after we had retained several experts who all came to the same conclusion that what happened here was a cannabis-induced psychosis that triggered the violence, and also that Bryn had no conscious or cognitive awareness of what she was doing. That's what we had presented to the prosecution. The prosecution then elected to retain their own experts, somebody who has testified frequently for the prosecution, not only for the prosecution, but frequently. And we had objected to this expert interviewing our client. Our position was we weren't claiming that Bryn had a mental illness or disorder or mental impairment, quite the opposite, that she was normal. Over objection, the judge ordered Bryn to be interviewed by the psychologist who was retained by the prosecution. And he spent a whole day with Bryn, interviewing her, conducting psychological tests. And in his conclusions were exactly the same as our experts. That this
So you
was
had, that's
cannabis.
interesting. That's interesting because typically in these cases we have a battle of experts, and it seems like you guys had an accord between the experts, which essentially, but I still think murder, I mean, I still think it was overcharged. But I want to go to you, Mike. The decision to put your client on the stand, you know, it's always a tough decision for all of us. It's a fluid decision. We never know when we need to do it. What was it in this case that made it easy for you to know that, you know, Bryn needs to testify?
Well, number one, Bryn is a remarkable human being, and you know, she's highly educated, and nobody knew her case more than her with regard to the way she was feeling and what she had to do to get her message across to the jurors in that courtroom. It's always a tough decision to put your client on the stand, and we very rarely do that in our line of work. But here there was no choice because of the defense that we were mounting. And what we, you know, just to give you a bit of insight into the defense that we were presenting was we were trying to convince the jury that it was involuntary intoxication, that she didn't intend to smoke whatever it was in that bong. She did take the first hit. There was some questions about the second hit, but she certainly didn't know that the contents of that bong were high-potency substances that caused the psychosis that was caused. And you know, you could compare this to being roofied in a bar, where of course you have a drink at a bar, but somebody places something in that drink. It was similar here because what she thought she was getting was the same type of pot that she had tried three or four times in the past.
Right, but Mike, the jury obviously disagreed with you. You said the jury got it wrong, the judge got it right, and you're appealing. But the jury disagreed with you because the jury didn't believe it was involuntary intoxication. They did believe it was involuntary manslaughter. But what is the issue on appeal?
Well, I'll let Bob address the appellate issue, but you're absolutely right, Sarah, that the jury didn't buy into our defense, so to speak. But Judge Worley, of course, as courageous as he was, he righted that wrong, and he did what he could in terms of sentencing. He sentenced her to probation, no time, and you know, in a jurisdiction like Ventura, that was a very courageous decision by Judge Worley.
No, and it was. Let me just toot your horns. You guys are great lawyers. I think Bryn is lucky to be alive, and also very lucky and fortunate that she had you two. I want to just get to.
And by the way,
Bryn.
sorry, just could jump in on that point. When you say she's lucky to be alive, let me expand on that. The reason that Bryn is lucky to be alive is that when the deputies came in, as you alluded to, she was stabbing herself, and they told her to drop the knife. She kept stabbing herself. They tased her, as you mentioned, 4 times. She kept stabbing herself. One of the deputies struck her with a steel-tipped baton 9 times before finally dislodging the knife from her hand. Only because of the intervention of that deputy is Bryn still alive.
Yeah, and Bryn, I want to give the last word to...
Keep in mind, Sarah,
yeah.
Sarah, the district attorney's office had all of this body-worn video available to them from the very early stages of the case. They had a series of notes that were taken by her when she was intubated in the hospital as she woke up the next morning after several surgeries. So they had the body-worn video. They had the marijuana that was recovered at the house. They had her notes about how she was feeling and the fact that she didn't want to take that second hit. And all of these things could have been reviewed during a pre-filing review of the case. But the district attorney's office decided to file a murder, and ultimately down the line, years down the line, they made that decision to dismiss the murder once our experts reached their decisions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I've had 5 cases in my career in Ventura County. I want to end with you, Bryn. What is the takeaway for our viewers? What is the one thing you can share that, you know, is the message from this horrific nightmare, really, that you went through?
I don't think marijuana should be promoted as safe to use. And there definitely needs to be some more education that psychosis can happen, and that cannabis needs to be regulated.
Really? Okay. I know there are a lot of people that disagree with you, but I agree with you.
I know.
But, all right. Well,
Sir, if I could just briefly just jump in on that point. You know, what we learned in this case is the danger of high-potency marijuana. Like most people, when we first came in the case, I think we had a misconception about generally what effect marijuana has. But then the more we studied, we learned the unregulated nature of the marijuana dispensary industry, especially here in California, and the high-potency products that are being sold. And that Chad, we know, according to the evidence, was purchasing high-potency marijuana. But the cautionary tale about this case, I think for your viewers out there, is that high-potency marijuana is very dangerous. And there is a link between high-potency marijuana and psychosis, and a link between high-potency marijuana and violence.
Yeah, so we're going to actually have your expert on to elaborate on all of this in the next block. But, Bryn, what do you want to tell Chad's family?
I just hope that they can find some compassion and forgiveness in the situation and look at how the cannabis industry can be dangerous for people, regular users or novice users. And we just need to all be more educated about it and spread more awareness about the possible dangers.
Bryn Spejcher, thank you for joining me, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward, especially with your license. And Bob Schwartz, Michael Goldstein, see you in a Los Angeles courtroom soon. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.